So with all your due permission, I just want to start the webinar. Today's webinar, a national webinar series, hashtag modern talk, hashtag ask Abhay Kumar Pandey. Today's topic is sustainable agriculture for rural development and employment opportunity for youth. Today's resource person is Dr. Abhay Kumar Pandey. He is a PhD and scientist at Mycology, in charge Department of Mycology and Microbiology, Toklai Tea Research Institute, NBR R&D, Nagarkata, West Bengal. We also have with us our respected Group Director, Sir, Dr. Puneet Kumar Dwivedi ji. And on behalf of entire modern group of institution, I would like to welcome you, sir. See, in this difficult situation, it becomes, it is an opportune time for us to share the views of different experts from different fields. So this COVID situation has given us the opportunity to cut down the boundaries and talk to the experts without boundaries. So therefore, we are planning such kind of webinar series, and you will wonder that we have almost finished 24 webinar in the month of June. From we called experts from different field, for after post-COVID situation. Basically, we are doing this modern talk on post-COVID situation. So this was the main objective of conducting this webinar series. And once again, on behalf of entire modern group, on behalf of our respected chairman, sir, Shri Anil Khariaji, vice chairman, sir, Shri Shantanu Khariaji, and our group director, sir, Dr. Puneet Kumar Dwivedi ji, I, Arpita Patel, head media and communication, corporate communication, welcome you all to the national webinar series, hashtag modern talk.
Thank you, Arpita.
Yeah. So before moving further, I would like to give a brief introduction about our organization. Modern Group of Institution is a leading group of premier institute in Indore. It is affiliate to RGPV Bhopal, DVV Indore, and CBSE New Delhi. It is approved by AICTE New Delhi, NCT, and PCI New Delhi. Modern Group is imparting quality education in the field of pharmacy, management, commerce, and education. We offer more than 8 courses in these fields, basically B Pharma, M Pharma, D Pharma, MBA, BBA, BCom, and B.Ed. Modern Group encompasses 2 leading pharmaceutical industry, Modern Lab and Nandini Medical Laboratories Private Limited. Modern Laboratories was established in 1979 by late Shri P.C. Khariaji, and Nandini Medical Laboratories was established in 1998. Both gained prestigious acclamation in All India rating of pharma industry. We also have Modern International School established in 2013. We believe in innovation and entrepreneurship. Hence, we have introduced MP's first incubation center, that is Modern Incubation Center, in the year 2019. It is sponsored by MSME Government of India. Recently, we have received World Book of Record UK and World Record Academy USA for making largest human image of medication capsule. Also, we are recognizing participating institute of Unnat Bharat Abhiyan in association with IIT Delhi and MHRD Government of India. The institute also have Modern Innovation Council, which is an institute innovation cell by MHRD Innovation Cell. So this was the brief introduction about our organization. And before moving further, I would like to give a brief introduction about our today's guest, Mr. Dr. Abhay Kumar Pandey. So for that, I need to share the slide. Just a minute. Yeah, is it visible, Abhayji?
Yes.
Yeah. Dr. Abhay Kumar Pandey is currently working as a senior mycologist at Toklai Tea Research Institute, Regional Center, Nagarsaka, West Bengal, India. Before joining Toklai, he was associated with an international institute, World Vegetable Center, South Asia, Hyderabad, where he served as a plant pathologist, South Asia, for 4 years. Dr. Pandey awarded PhD degree from Kumun University in Nainital in 2012, and he has 13 years of experience in the different areas of plant pathology. He was also awarded by Professor O.P. Mall Gold Medal in Mycology and Plant Pathology by the Indian Botanical Society in 2012 and Best Proposal Award on Rice Organic Farming by ICDF, Tepai, Taiwan. He has also worked for a Ministry of Agriculture GOI for 3 years at the World Vegetable Center. He has organized several international training related to sustainable vegetable production in Bangladesh, Myanmar, Thailand, survival, and supervised several international interns from USA, France, Germany, and potentially involved in several national and international projects. He is a member of several national and international academic societies, including Society of Chemical Industry London, America, Pathological Society, Indian Science Congress Association, and Indian Botanical Society. He is the potential reviewer of several Thomson V. uh, Reuters Journal Index in Science Citation Index. He is an he is an editorial board member of Journal of Scientific Agriculture, American Journal of Agriculture Sciences, and associate editor of Agricultural Research and Technology and EC Agriculture journals. He has published more than 60 research papers in reputed journals in the areas of plant and pathology. Once again, on behalf of Modern Group of Institution, I would like to welcome you, sir. Thank you for being with us, sir. And now I would like to request you to start your introductory talk on the topic.
Thank you, Arpita. So, first of all, I will thank to Modern Group of Institutions who give me this opportunity to give a talk on that sustainable agriculture for rural development and employment opportunities for youth.
Would you like to share the screen, sir?
Yes.
Okay. Now you can share the screen.
So I will discuss about here sustainable agriculture for rural development and employment opportunities for youth, and where do we stand? Means currently, what are the basic criteria adopted in the sustainable agriculture in India, and where are the gaps, and where are the role of sustainable agriculture to develop rural people, and what are the employment opportunities for the youth in the sustainable agriculture? So the outline of the presentation will be the agriculture, and first we will understand the agriculture and food system. Then I will define what is sustainable, then exploring sustainable agriculture, then role of sustainable agriculture in the rural development, and then linking youth employment with sustainable agriculture. So let us talk about first what is the biological system. Means before going for the sustainable agriculture, we have to understand what is the biological system. So in biological system, three things come: the ecosystem, agro-ecosystem, and food system. So in first, ecosystem comes where we belong. So in ecosystem is nothing but it is the just interaction between energy environment and living organism. And after that, an ecosystem that manage and produce the foods and fibers and give and supply to the human living stock. And this is called as agro-ecosystem. Then after that, food system comes, the system that produce and process and distribute and consume the food, that is called food system. So in the next slide, here you can see the chain of the food system. Means how we get from the natural resources. You can see the production means what we get, like crops, whatever there, what crops and all the things. This comes under natural resources, and the natural resources provide to the society for processing and distribution. Then these NSS, or that it goes to the technology where it use and it recycle and compose depending on the crop. So this whole cycle is called as food system. So before going to sustainable agriculture, let's talk about some facts of Indian agriculture. So in the total geographical area of India is about 329 million hectare, and out of which the 265 million hectare is only potential for the biological production, and out of 265 million hectare, only 143 million hectare is net sown area in India, and in this 68 million hectare is only irrigated area, means 61 million hectare area we have good facility for irrigation apart from other areas, and approx 190 million hectare is a drought prone area in the India. So here you can see also the Indian agriculture, it contributed 14% of GDP, total GDP of Indian government, Indian economy, and provide food to 1.3 billion people. And it sustains 65% of the population and helps in alleviate the poverty. And it produces 51 major crops and raw material, and it provides to the food industry. And India is the one of the 12 biodiversity center in the world. So here you can see this slide from how India become from a green efficient nation to the food security for all. This is called Green Revolution, and it is led by the Professor M.S. Swaminathan. So here are the some achievements of Indian agriculture. So you can see here how India got from food shortage to self-sufficiency and exports, and from subsistence farming to intensive and technology-led for the cultivation. And today, India is the front-ranking producer of many crop in the world. And it is accessible in through the green revolution, white revolution, and yellow revolution. And today, India is the largest producer of pulse and milk, and the second largest producer of tea, fruits, wheat, rice, groundnut, and sugarcane. So the basic crisis in agriculture is the increasing cost of cultivation and decreasing the market price in the market, and decreasing government support, subsidy and credit, market manipulation, like market manipulation in the sense, if we will go to the market, we will get some manipulated of the crop. And if we will sow seed in the field, then we will get 50% reduction in the seed germination due to seed mixing. The similar thing like fertilizers in the market, we are getting several manipulated fertilizer that is not really effective as fertilizer is. Similarly, for pesticide also, we are getting several manipulated pesticides in the market. So these all are the concern for the agriculture in Indian agriculture, and also the excessive dependency on the chemicals and failures of chemicals and suicides by the farmer due to loss, economic loss in their crop. These all are the crises of the present agriculture. So why we should go for the sustainable agriculture? This slide, so you can see here. So why we should opt sustainable agriculture? Because the people are worried from the conventional farming. Because why? Because if we use fertilizer, chemical fertilizer, it damages the soil fertility. Like same thing, due to lack of breeding, seed crisis in the market is there. Narrowing of genetic base, means whatever the germ plasm of crops available in the market, they are very limited in the Indian context. And therefore, indiscriminate use of genetically engineered material also make us to look for the sustainable agriculture, because some of the genetically engineered materials have several side effects. And more use of agrotoxin. Agrotoxin means here nothing but it is synthetic chemicals, and high cost of cultivation, because once the Indian farmer will apply all these things, then it will come as high cost of cultivation. So we will look that unsustainable feature, and this will be based in the sense of economics, in the sense of social, and in the sense of environment. In the sense of economics means conversion of farmland, means now what is happening in India, the farmland is converting into the urban land. Farming income same. Low productivity also inhibiting the economics of Indian farmers, and also market competition, because in market, once we will go in market, several Chinese variety, other varieties are coming, that people are preferring those varieties than the whatever produced by organic means by Indian farmers. So these are the economic crisis. And social crisis include the illegal worker, age of farm operator, and external cost. The similarly, environmental crises include that soil quality, water, and genetic diversity. So here are the benefit of sustainable agriculture. You can see here the benefit of sustainable agriculture basically include it preserve biodiversity. Means whatever diversity, natural diversity available in the field, it preserve biodiversity. It ensures soil conservation, means property of the soil, fertility of the soil. It retain the fertility of the soil. It maintain also water quality, what nutrient required for the plant from water. It maintain nutrient quality, and also it protect economic viability to farming, and it suit for local condition and capacity. Means normal people can adopt sustainable agriculture, means the farmer who are poor, they can adopt sustainable agriculture. So basically, the definition of sustainability is that the sustain is made from the Latin word sustinere. Sus means below and tenere to hold. That hold from the base. It called sustainable. Means what makes something sustainable is called sustainable. The characteristic of sustainability is that it is in economics, means it provide potential subsidy, provides potential income and access of the food in the market. With regard to the environment, it conserve the soil, and for animal welfare also it is useful because it does not have any side effect. And for community also, for social justice and cooperative relation, it helps. You can see here the environmental, the sustainable agriculture is the social sustainability, relation of social sustainability, environmental sustainability, and financial sustainability. So basically, sustainable agriculture is multifunctional as it provides food and fiber, it protects the environment, it conserves land and resources, it develops rural people, and maintain the agricultural heritage. So now we have to know what is sustainable agriculture, because you people are from different backgrounds, then you might be not knowing how sustainable agriculture can be done in India. So there are several types of sustainable agriculture, but here I have just discussed about some important sustainable agriculture that is economic in the Indian context. So here you can see organic farming is one of the ways for sustainable agriculture. Biodynamic permaculture means cultivation of more than one crop in single field. It is called permaculture, like dual culture you can say. It's agroecological system and low input. Also, sustainable practices include it conserve through cover crop, it minimize tillage through crop rotation. Also, with regard to the nutrient, it recycle compost, manure, and crop residue. So here there are basic thing of sustainable agriculture is the integrated farming, integrated crop management, and integrated pest management. Three basic major things for sustainable agriculture are there. So I will discuss one by one. So here you can see technique of sustainable agriculture. First, crop rotation. So crop rotation is very economical. It is not very costly, and crop rotation is nothing but we should recommend the farmer to rotate the crop. Means from one season, if they are growing for wheat, then other season they are going for pulse or vegetable. Why they do crop rotation? Because for pulse it requires high nutrient from the soil. And for wheat and cereal crops, they require very light nutrient from the soil. If we will do continuously pulse, then what will happen? There will be less quantity of the nutrient in the soil in context of nutrient. Second, in the context of pest and diseases, so what is the pathosystem of cereals? The totally different from the pathosystem of the pulses and vegetables. So if 1 year we will grow wheat, cereal based crop, and next year we will grow pulse and other crop, then what will happen? The pathosystem will totally change, and the farmers should not require, or farmer not reluctant to use pesticide or chemical pesticide for the control of disease. So these are the basic things of crop rotation. Here you can see here the tomato family, means the tomato family like brinjal, tomato, chili. This is the tomato family. This is the squash family. This is the bean, basically pulse family and onion family. So we have to rotate like every year. In crop rotation only, here general I have described what happens. In crop rotation, generally land is fixed, but crop is rotated year after year, and it maintains and even improves soil fertility, and it checks the soil erosion and conserve moisture of the soil. The rotation of crop offer a diet to the, I told you that nutrient things, and also it provides a diet to soil microorganism, because in soil not only harmful microorganism present, but in soil also beneficial microorganism present, that is beneficial for our crops. So what crop rotation do? It provide very important diet to our beneficial microbe available in the soil. So crop rotation is the basic thing of sustainable agriculture. And here this some model I have presented. It is adopted in Assam and Jharkhand. So you can see how like Kharif, Rabi and Summer, 3 seasons are there. In Kharif seasons, they are growing tomato, chili and brinjal. In Rabi season, squash crop, and in summer season, kukur beets like bitter gourd, bottle gourd, cucumber. This model is currently being adopted by rural people of Jharkhand and Assam. Here you can see some type of sustainable agriculture, means some practices are here like conservation tillage, mulching in vegetable field, intercropping of cabbage with legume, intercropping of pumpkin with legume. So basically, conservation tillage also preserves soil from soil erosion. Mulching in the soil, generally what mulching does, it eradicates the soil-borne pathogen from the field. Because once we do the mulching in the soil, once heat happens and when temperature goes up, then what happens? This mulching basically done by polythene. So polythene get heat, and whatever soil-borne microflora is there, they get killed. Similarly, intercropping of cabbage with legume, we recommend intercropping. Why? Because it can be used as dual purpose. Means from same field, farmer can get 2 income, like cabbage and legume. Cabbage is the brassicaceae and legume is the high nutrient, means it absorbs high nutrient from the soil, while cabbage absorb little nutrient. So intercropping of cabbage and legume also recommended, and intercropping of cucumber, pumpkin with legume also recommended. These all practices are Assam and Jharkhand currently being adopted. So in sustainable agriculture, with concern to the water resources, in sustainable agriculture, we generally recommend for pressurized irrigation, like drip irrigation, this pressurized irrigation, not for surface irrigation. Because in surface irrigation, what happens? A lot of water use, which may cause water shortage in future. And it also not provide sufficient supply of water to the plant from upper surface. So in drip irrigation and in pressurized irrigation, they use little amount of water, but they supply exact amount of water what plant need. So generally, these 3 irrigation methods accepted in that sustainable agriculture. Now I will discuss about the organic farming. So organic farming is also an important wing of sustainable agriculture. And basically why we should go for the organic farming? Because it is totally organic based. And generally we use the chemical pesticide and the chemical fertilizer in the field. They are very toxic to us and they are very toxic to the soil. They reduce the fertility of the soil and they cause several diseases to the human health like carcinogenic, they are sperm toxicity, they are causing several hormonal imbalance. So organic farming is recommended. So basically the main benefit of the organic farming is natural and farm resources. It is avoid usage of chemical. It is potentially feasible with the biological diversity, and it provide nutrient rich soil to the soil. Here you can say a farmer, they are preparing vermicompost. This comes under the organic farming. So they are generally preparing vermicompost from their wastes, all form of animal leftover plant residue, and home organic waste can be used for compost. Compost is also made up from organic leftover by decomposition under aerobic condition. Because what happened when we decompose under aerobic condition, we decompose this compost under aerobic condition, the population of beneficial microbe increase in the soil. That is very beneficial for our crop. So generally what recommend कि before applying this compost to the field, decompose your compost to the house in aerobic condition so that microbial population will increase. So here you can see one process also there, green manuring. Green manuring is also an important part of organic farming because in green manuring what people generally do, first they like clover leaf they just sow in the field, and when clover leaf come up to 1 month they just plow the field, and then after that they left it for rotting. Once it rot, it also provide nutrient to the soil. And by using crop rotation, I have also discussed earlier that crop rotation, how crop rotation is beneficial for sustainable agriculture. So why we should go for the organic, already discussed earlier, why we should go for the organic farming? Because it provides high nutritious value. Because if you will also taste that organic potato and normal potato, so you will get the different taste of organic potato and normal potato. So you will prefer organic potato always. Although it is costly, but you will always prefer that organic potato. It is poisonous fruit and good taste, flavor, and it is resistant to pest and diseases. Generally what happens, organic farming, the chances of pest and diseases is very less. It is drought resistant, have no pollution, and also once we will incorporate compost in the soil, it will increase that soil fertility. So we should always prefer organic farming. So here it also, because organic sources of employment in context of sources of employment, it is also important because organic farming is more labor intensive and hence it generates more employment. Because I have already explained you that preparation of compost and so many things are there. So with regard to the consumer benefits, it provides nutrition and health reason. It is poison free, good taste, while growth benefit, it is high premium and disease and pest resistant and drought resistant. The third wing of sustainable agriculture is the integrated pest management. Means integrated pest management is nothing. Suppose in the field, some pest or disease attacks are there. Like you might have heard Irish famine, Bengal famine. These all are very severe diseases. So like that, if suppose serious diseases are there in the field, so we adopt IPM in the sustainable agriculture, like integrated pest management. And integrated pest management avoid the use of excess chemicals. Means it says we should go for the chemicals only when the disease pressure or insect pest pressure of the field reached up to 50 level, up to 50%, means economic economic threshold level reach up to 50%, then only we should prefer for the chemical pesticide. Otherwise, we can manage it with the prevention, cultural practices, and physical practices. So what it generally does, IPM conserve our environment, it produce quality crop and maintains farm profitably. So here, these are the wings of integrated pest management, like prevention, cultural practices, mechanical practices, biological practices, and you can see last year, then chemical pesticide. So first we have to take pre-phyletic measure. Means pre-phyletic measure means before only, if suppose we are knowing, yeah, this area is prone for this disease attack or this pest attack. So we should select the resistant variety initially only. So if we will select the resistant variety, there is no chance of pest attack in the field. And suppose if sown the field and some little bit pest or disease infection are there, so we can go for cultural practices, like cultural and mechanical practices, like pruning of disease part area and throwing out the field. And after that, if we get some disease pressure in the field, so we can adopt biological pesticide, because currently in the India, in the market, there are so many biological pesticides are available. I will show you in the next slide. So we can go for the biological pesticide. Means up to biological, we are on the stage of organic farming. If we will go after biological, then it will come under integrated pest management. Then if suppose the things will be not controlling with the biological control, then we have to opt chemical control finally. So here you can say, as you can see in this slide, in India, several biopesticides are available, like trichoderma-based biopesticide, Pseudomonas-based biopesticide. Here you can see neem oil. Neem, everybody is knowing. Neem is a very good insecticide in the market, and it has broad spectrum. Means it is effective against a diverse range of pests. And there are several package of practices developed by the government of India that will also beneficial for farmer for the sustainable agriculture. And here you can see this is the neem seed kernel extract. Means in rural areas, if the people go and train them how to prepare neem seed kernel extract, they can produce themselves and use in their field. No registration is required for this. So here I will conclude you. The factors for a better and sustainable agriculture. What are the major factors for the better and sustainable agriculture development? So here the tapping potential yield of the crop grown, ensuring quality of seedling, sapling and other input. Research on product diversity and variety breeding with strong linkage between public institute and private sector. The public-private partnership to provide timely quality input to the farming community. Otherwise, it will destroy. And development of food processing industry to avoid wastage of excessively produced perishable food. Especially this is feasible in case of India for tomato, because in India, people are very enormously, they are producing tomato, but due to the lack of food processing industry, they are wasting their produce. So encouragement of healthy competitive power between all stakeholders in agriculture export and import, and also stringent action against supply of low quality input that inadvertently lead to failure of crop season is required. So here, how sustainable agriculture is contributed for the rural development. So you can we can say the agriculture is a very important part of the rural area, especially due to land use, and in the countries where the agriculture is the prime economic source, and farming is the fabric of rural society, and in many countries the main source of economy. However, the factors that are affecting the non-sustainability is tend to be the main reason of non-availability of labor for the agriculture operation. because of migration of the labor for a non-farm activity due to discouragement of the people. So here potential contribution of sustainable agriculture involved in the rural areas for supporting employment, accelerating business and boosting economic and social infrastructure. So rural development policies should be exploit the contribution of farming, both in terms of improving on-farm activity and supporting ancillary service to secure sustainable development for rural areas. Rural activities also earn or save foreign exchange and can save and invest, and also rural people constitute a reservoir of entrepreneurial talent. So how in rural areas, how agriculture, how people of rural areas know about sustainable agriculture? So we know a wing, means we know a wing that go to the rural people, and they aware them what is the sustainable agriculture, what is the benefit of sustainable agriculture, how you adopt. So for this awareness, agriculture extension has very important role. So that agriculture extension, they have very important role in promoting the sustainable agriculture in rural areas, basically because they bring world to farmer and farmers to world. And extension is an intervention that can help farmers to achieve a better quality of life. When this happens, there can direct or indirect positive on national and regional economics. It helps also to change the farmer behavior on a voluntary basis. If some farmers are not agree with that sustainable agriculture, they provide the special feedback to them. They create also new knowledge, new awareness, and motivate them for the agriculture. They also create and share new agriculture technology. Means agriculture extension people, they create and share the new agriculture technology from lab to land, means from scientists to farmers. So how rural develops through agriculture extension? Because they promote poverty eradication in the rural areas. They also provide social protection program, and they support and promote effort to harmonize modern technology with traditional and indigenous knowledge for the sustainable rural development. And they protect and ensure sustainable use of traditional knowledge, including indigenous knowledge. Means they will immediately not tell to the farmer that you adopt sustainable agriculture. First, they will listen to the farmer, what they are adopting in their traditional agriculture or indigenous agriculture. Then they will slowly will say them, okay, you are adopting this traditional agriculture or indigenous agriculture. So if you will improve this by this way, then you will get the better quality. There are several job. They are also aware to the rural people that's about the job awareness, means where are the jobs in sustainable agriculture. So these are the basically wings of Government of India: the self-help group, water user association, Ritu Mitra group, joint forest management group, primary producer association, and farmer producer organization. These are the wing currently working interlinked between sustainable agriculture and rural development. And there are several schemes which led by the Government of India, but is still not aware by the rural people. So in the terms of rural context, we can say that it focuses on the production and commercialization. Means with respect to the rural context, we can say it focuses on production or commercialization, but not on the marketing and value addition. Lack of coordination between economic actor and individualistic vision versus systematic competition. And little or no coordination of the support activities. So how we can link our youth with the sustainable agriculture? So this is the truth that average age of the person involved in sustainable agriculture is above 55% in India and all over the world. And in India, the rural population in India accounts 68% of total population, and total youth population is 28%, which ranging from the age 10 to 24 years. And India is, in the coming days, India is emerging as a future youth nation in the globe. And youth involvement in the agriculture offers significant opportunity to tackle high unemployment in the region. So how we can do? We can empower the youth through education and training, through their access and resources, through employment, through market access. Means what are the things in markets? We empower the youth through organization. And these are the areas you can see employment areas in the sustainable agriculture, farming or food production, of education, outreach, agri-tourism is very emerging thing, research, horticulture, farmland, preservation, food science, organic farming is also best way for engaging the youth. Apart from this, the government of India has also launched for the youth agri clinic and agri business center scheme. So the youth who are agriculture graduate, they can take the grant from government of India. I will discuss in the next slide where we can look for the grant. So they can take the grant from the subsidized grant from the government of India, and they can open the agri clinic and agri business center. In agri clinic, generally what happens? The soil testing, plant protection measure, crop insurance, and post-harvest technology. This type of things happen in the agri clinic. While agri business, where like sale of machines in agriculture sector, and post-harvest management, and also linkage of market to farmer to value chain. You can say value chain of the product. Means from market, from farmer to market, from farmer to groceries, from farmer to restaurant. So this thing can happen. So here you can say, I can say here the basic way to engage youth in agriculture. So first of all, we have to identify the interested youth and provide them a technical practical knowledge, and then training to follow the best and suitable agriculture practices. And also we have to link the social media with the agriculture and make them interest. To while linking the social media to the agriculture, and also to improve the agriculture image and strengthen higher education in the agriculture, and also greater use of information and communication technologies, and empower young people to speak up, because generally what happens, if you will go in any policy meeting, there only you will see that old people are speaking and young people are just keeping mouth shut. So they do not give chance to speak the young people. This is very demerit of that Indian context. So we have to empower young people to speak regarding the policy making related to sustainable agriculture, and also put agriculture on the school curricula, and greater public investment in agriculture. So here are the some challenges and constraints in the youth for the sustainable agriculture, because youth are discouraged about engaging in agriculture, because agriculture is not presented as the viable career option in India. Also, they have poor and inadequate education limit, and they don't have any good agricultural training or education which need for the rural level market. And also agriculture entrepreneurial training are not sufficiently encourage them to take risks due to the poor financial condition of India. And also they don't have access to land, because so we can improve. Here you can see, I just marked here, so you can see their knowledge, information and education we can improve through educational trainings in various sectors depending on the crops. And also they don't have land for the agriculture or any farming, so leasing arrangements should be done. So land lease arrangement with government, private sector, individual citizen for at least the duration of the project should be done to assess the land. The financial crisis is also the major crisis. So financial crisis is also provide an access to market, because somewhere you will see that some people are producing the crop, but in the market, if they are going, they are not ready to take their crop, so they will lose. So in that case, a very good supply chain should be there from farm to market, like link young agri entrepreneur with established farmer group that already have access to the market. Utilize existing or start a farmer market, and engagement in policy dialogue. The main I have discussed earlier, it is very important to engage the youth in the policy, making policy related to agriculture. So here I have some questions I have described. The problem in engaging youth in agriculture, what in India, basically in Indian context, how can you inspire India youth to take up farming? So in this case, the government must have assured the minimum support price for other crops. And this will encourage the youth to take up farming without bothering about the market risk. We must also move away from the monocropping and invest, that I already explained you, we do not go for monocropping, we should do intercropping, diversification of crop, so that from the same crop we can produce, sorry, from the same field we can produce several crops. And why youth are not interested in agriculture in India? This is because Indian agriculture is gambling with the monsoon. And you can see, even if the weather is suitable, we have timely rains and farmers do not get the right value for the harvest. And lack of scientific advancement in agriculture field is also one of the major reasons for youth to not take the agriculture and their occupation. And the third one is the why agriculture is not attractive to the youth, because youth people are usually not interested in the field of work in the large part due to their perception of farming being inadequate and unprofitable. The unprofitable is the major thing. The image of agriculture traditionally has been more about subsistence. You produce enough for you to eat. So these are the some where to look for trainings and funding. The Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare, they are giving several projects for the rural development related to the sustainable agriculture. I already explained. Ministry of Rural Development also giving same thing, and the National Institute of Rural Development Hyderabad, they provide very good training for the rural people. And National Institute of Agriculture Extension and Management, they do the same job, training in context to the rural areas and how to produce a sustainable crop. And there is the bank, National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. So if somebody want to go for farming, then they can seek for funding for this bank. They can give very low interest amount loan to the people. So we can say sustainable, we can say unless farming become both intellectually stimulating and economically rewarding, it will be difficult to attract or retain rural youth in the farming, said by the MS Swaminathan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for such a wonderful and to the point and very precise presentation on the topic sustainable agriculture. Now I would like to request you to kindly stop the screen share so that we can see the grid view. Yeah, thank you so much. So it was a really wonderful experience that, we came to know about different aspects of agriculture as well as different aspects of sustainable development in agriculture and the job opportunities and employment in this area, because most of the youth these days are not interested for the agriculture, as you mentioned in your PowerPoint presentation. So this would be, a key point or a kind of a lesson for the students, those who are willing to work in the agriculture sector, and it is the most upcoming field these days. Means after post COVID, it will be the most demanding and most demanding field. Agriculture is the. So we have
Yes.
probably 116 participants right now with us, which were there throughout the session. And the chat box is full of compliments and questions that they want to ask you, and they have given a lot of compliments to you. You can see in the chat box. So it was a wonderful and very knowledgeable session for all of us, sir. Now I would like to begin the question answer session. So I will begin with the question of one of the participants, that Diana Ramapadarth. She has asked that it is an excellent presentation, but can you please explain what is biodynamic, sustainable farming, and what type of work does the biodiversity centers do?
Biodynamic, basically, I explain you already that integrated pest management.
Yes.
I explain you. So biodynamic is basically biological base, and generally in the organic farming, can I share the slide?
Yes, sir.
In the organic farming, I told you if we adopt that integrated pest management strategy, so first we have to go for cultural preventive measure, cultural practices. After cultural practices, if it is not controllable, then we should go for biological practices. So if our farming is based only on the biological practices, so this is called biological biodynamics, means we are in that field, we use only biopesticide. It totally avoid the use of that chemical fertilizers, either with respect of the soil fertilizer or with respect of the pesticide or fungicide or insecticide.
Okay. I hope Diana has got the answer for the question. Now, one of the student, they have asked that I'm a student of agriculture, and his question is what is the role of WTO in sustainable agriculture?
Sorry, can you repeat this question?
Yeah. What is the role of WTO in sustainable agriculture?
WTO basically they are giving they are interlinking, means I explained you already that regarding the extension process, means how the scientific people will interlink with the rural people. So WTO is an the important wing. They are linking the scientific people with the rural people to develop the sustainable agriculture. Means they provide whatever successful practices are there from lab to field.
Okay, fine. Thank you so much, sir. That was really informative. My next question is that, as you mentioned in your slide, that we not everyone is opting for the sustainable agriculture. So, what are the ways or what are the paths to motivate the people to start doing sustainable agriculture?
Okay. So, ma'am, the same thing I explain you in that slide, that means role of extension people
Yes,
to adopt the to go and give the knowledge to that rural
awareness.
people.
Awareness is the
Awareness, yeah. So in the case of awareness, you can say कि once that extension people go to that rural area, then they do not force farmer to adopt sustainable agriculture. So initially they listen the problems of farmers, what they are adopting in their areas. So suppose if they are getting some mistakes in their practices, then that time they will tell, you know, this practice is not good, you can go for this practice like that. And also the second thing for sustainable agriculture also to motivate other people, because does not cause any side effect to the human being. While conventional agriculture causes several side effects to the human being.
okay.
So
Yeah,
these are the way to motivate the people.
very true. See, everyone is nowadays, talking about the COVID-19 and post-COVID-19 impact. So we would
Hmm.
also like to know what is the impact of COVID-19 on overall development of agricultural sector.
Okay. So basically, ma'am, COVID-19 pandemic has impacted all the sectors, including agriculture sector and food security. And it has resulted the dislocation of supply, demand, and prices of agricultural commodities and products. And also, it inhibited the supply chain. Do you mean supply chain of fruits and vegetables?
Yes.
Means supply chains, means suppose farmer is harvesting, so it is not going to the grocery stores, it is not going to the restaurant. So it is very dynamically, in fact, it affected that supply chain, which affected the economics. Basically, in terms of economics, we will go. Also, secondly, in the coming days, presently also, it is very effectively affected the rice transplanting, where labor problems are there. So due to social distancing and all this stuff, in fact, in the tea plantation also, we have labor problem because social distancing. So these all are the impact in agriculture. Also from the migration of workers from
Of
few
course.
part to their native place has also triggered panic button. And they have the crucial for both harvesting operations and post-harvest handling and storage. And also the cell product of dairy, fish and poultry. These also very much infected with this COVID-19 pandemic. So overall, it has caused the economic crisis on the agriculture.
Okay. Fine, that was really wonderful. See, everyone, because this is basically for the youth and for the job opportunity, because youth is majorly attracted toward the job opportunities. So,
Hmm.
what skill set they should acquire to learn the, to get into this agriculture uh, development or sustainable agriculture?
Okay, the basic thing means the people who are seeking the job in the agriculture sector, so they should have the technical skill. First, they should have the technical skill. Also, they should have value chain knowledge and importance of value chain knowledge. Means suppose they are going to block the value chain, what impact is going to be for the farmer and for the supplier and for the producer. And also they have firm management knowledge, means how to management the labor. Suppose we selected one people for one firm, so how we will manage the labor in that firm. So they should have very firm management skill, and they have also analytical skill, good analytical skill, and also they have adaptability skill, adaptability with the food demand from the consumers. So these are the basic skills. And after all, if I already explained you there that agri clinic and agri business, there are these two very important scheme launched by government of India. So for agri clinic and agri business, the candidate should have at least graduate degree or graduate diploma with this.
Okay, fine. So I think those who are students and those who are willing to enter into this zone, they should get, benefited by your information. Uh,
Yes.
one of the participant, they have asked that in organic farming, the yield of crop is in organic farming. Am I audible, sir?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yes, audible.
In organic farming, the yield of
Hmm.
crop is very less. What is the reason
Yeah.
behind it?
Yeah. This is the major thing of organic farming, because in organic farming you immediately not get the yield of that conventional farming. So in organic farming, what happens? Gradually we will increase the yield produce. Means it will take 5 to 6 years, because it is already we have practiced in Jharkhand through TBLS. So you have to wait for some period of time, like 5 years, 6 years. Then it will gradually increase. But immediately you cannot get the similar period, means similar yield with the conventional organic farming.
So people need to keep patience for this. For if
Yeah,
they
the
are
people
they
need to
enter
prepare,
into,
and
yeah,
also it is costly. It is means it is labor intensive. So in the terms of labor intensive, it is little bit costly. But I am sure if you will, I have already tested. If you will taste the organic cauliflower and normal cauliflower, you will get very different taste, and you will always prefer that organic cauliflower.
that
And
is
in the market, organic products are very cost, means they are very costly than the
costly.
normal one.
Yes.
So
So
economic point of view, you will get.
that is definitely true, because if you want to gain, sweet fruit, you have to wait for the time, wait, and after some time, you will definitely get the sweet fruit out of it. So
Yes.
that was really wonderful. Now, my last question for the session is: can you suggest some good startup ideas for the entrepreneur or budding entrepreneur, which is present in this session?
Yes. So for entrepreneur, the first thing we are just generally recommending that goat farming. That goat farming is very effective and it is dual purpose. Means if nowadays some breed goats are coming, they are giving very good milk. So the first one you can use the milk for milk purpose, and the second for meat production. And also it is not cost effective, means it is not very
Cost.
costly. And the meat is very high in the market. We already knowing that goat meat. So
Yes.
goat farm is one thing. Second thing, they can use start up with a mushroom cultivation with a small room. This is also very low input, and government are giving very some loans regarding this with very small amount of interest. And also some horticultural crops. Horticultural crops they can grow. For women also, I will always suggest for the home garden. That is very good employment for women, rural people, home garden. And dairy farming is also for the startup, means with low inputs.
Yes.
First we require low input.
So that was really wonderful and very amazing information that you have given to us, sir. And at last, I would like to thank you so much. Thank you for coming and joining us. In a very short span, you agreed and you said yes. So it was very nice of you, sir.
Thank you.
Currently, we have 106 participants. The latest one is 106. We had 115 approx participants with us throughout the session. And now I would like to request Professor Neha Sharma Chaudhary, Faculty and Head Admissions, Modern Group of Institution, to propose word of thanks to Abhayji.
Thank you so much, madam. A very good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
It is my privilege to propose a vote of thanks to Dr. Abhay Pandey, sir. Thanks a lot, sir, for throwing the light on sustainable agriculture for rural development and employment opportunity for the youth. In such a short time, it was really so informative. And the way you have shared your information, that was really so impactful, sir. Your presentation was so strong, crisp, and it has covered the all focus areas in really short time. So thank you so much for being with us.
Okay, if we are unable to just reply with some participant questions, you can mail me. I will reply with pleasure.
Surely, sir. So generous of you. Thank you. I also thank our chairman, Shri Anil Kariya, sir, our vice chairman, Shri Shantanu Kariya, sir, and our group director, Dr. Puneet Kumar Jivedi, sir, for creating such a wonderful platform for all of us. At last, I also thank to all the attendees and the participants for your support and the appreciation for each webinar. Stay connected with us for the future webinars too. Once again, sir, on the behalf of entire Modern family, I wanted to thank you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much, sir.
Okay, ma'am.
For connecting. And it is a great pleasure to have you with us. And I also thank all the participants, those who are there throughout the session. I request all the participants to fill up the feedback form you will receive after host will end the session. And you will get the e-certificate within 7 working days. Most of we are getting some queries regarding the certificate not received, but you have to check whether it has been gone to the spam or the promotional folder. So please check the promotional as well as the spam folder for the certificate, and you will definitely get the certificate. So don't worry and keep updating yourself. We also have one webinar lined up at 4 p.m. with the CEO of Witty Feed, Mr. Vinay Singhal. So please join us on that webinar too. Thank you so much once again. Thank you so much, Abhayji.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Namaste. Namaste.